Yo, it's Nascent, and you're hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
What's up, guys? Rob here, Front Row Live Entertainment. I'm hanging out here in the studio with Nascent, and I'm super excited to be hanging out with you, man. This studio is more than a studio to you. I feel like it's gotten some kind of history with you when you started out your career. Can you tell me a little bit about, that kind of history that you have with this space
This
right here?
space is this particular room. I mean, I've done a lot of music here, a lot of stuff with Orion Sun, a lot of stuff on my on the album did here. But this building, just in general, like I first came to LA 2014. This is the first place the first studio I came to.
Yeah,
with my boy Fabe, and I slept in the studio, worked in the studio, lived here. You know what I'm saying? So it's a full circle for sure.
it's cool to hear those stories when it's like you had nothing, you were couch surfing, sleeping on other people's people's places, and then now you've got it made pretty much, man. Like your work is paying off. It's actually like putting you out there in your name out there in the industry. Like that build up for you, like how much of a challenge has it been to get to where you're at today?
Man, it's a lot of sacrifice, bro. It's like, even like the term making it is like, it's still not really like
it's not real.
It's not real, because there's always like, is it once you get done with one thing, then it's on to the next.
Yeah.
So there's never really like, it's just more like a thought, a mind thing. But I feel like all the sacrifice I made to this point, you feel me, is definitely paying off. It has paid off, you know what I mean? All the relations I built, and throughout my time here in LA and just in general, as I started making music. So I just feel like, all that is a testament to the grind, and also just being stubborn is just really, really stubborn. You know what I'm saying? And just not taking no for an answer.
Being stubborn, I feel like is a tough characteristic to have as a producer when you're working with new talent all the time. You're working with a lot of different artists. How have you been able to kind of control that stubbornness and allowing yourself to kind of listen to other people's opinions and options whenever you're working with different groups or different collaborators?
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to new artists, like what I look for is I have to see I have to be able to see past what it is.
Yeah.
So in order, I can't take it for the surface level. I have to be like almost like excited or have like a vision, like see what it could be, And also like at this point now, I think for me working with people, it's got to be almost like on some like we have to actually get along. Like, like actually like
has to be some kind of chemistry.
Chemistry relationship, because that's what makes the best music, in my opinion, and that's what we get the best out of everybody.
Yeah.
Because there's actual real attempt to try to get to know somebody and to try to bring the best out of them. So for sure.
Now, for you, like how different is it working on an artist's project versus working on your project? Like right now, your sophomore album that just recently dropped. So, how different was that kind of chemistry in the studio when you have these artists?
I think the difference is like you're just chasing everybody, because my whole album, my entire album is of features, So I have 18, I have like 14 songs, but they're all features, and some got 2 features on them. So you're thinking about you're chasing down 20 people, different schedules, different. Are they on tour? Are they in the mood to make music?
Yeah.
Are they in town? And then once you get them, just trying to focus on what you have in front of you. Also just creative control. Kind of guiding the ship where it's gonna go, really making sure that I'm like doing my job on telling the story I want to tell. Because at first, when you're working on something like this, like you may know what you want to do, but sometimes you just got shit everywhere. I don't know if I can swear on here.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, I don't know if you got shit. You just got shit everywhere.
Yeah,
and you're trying to figure out, all right, cool, where does this stuff go? And it's like it all comes together. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta keep pushing through, even when it gets a little bit, a little hairy, a little like, you know what I'm saying? Because you're investing time and also resources and money,
right,
to just try to get this get this project done and get the story out.
And the fact that you were chasing about 20 people to kind of bring them on board to this project, like Obviously you're expecting a lot of yeses, but you're also expecting a lot of nos.
Yeah.
So what was it about these particular people that are on this record that you felt like needed to be on the album? Like why did they fit so perfectly for this record?
These are people that like I said, that I work with already on their projects, that I have relationships with.
That's that contract.
And and it's also like the textures. You know, I listen to a lot of textures and tones, and that's super important, whether it be singers or even rappers, or and how it matches with my sound, and it's just like I don't force anything. I let things just happen how they happen. If I get a no, I'm gonna try to keep trying to get it, but like also you just gotta know when to hold and when to fold.
Yeah.
And then just like, you know what, it's all good. I'll try it again on the next one.
Yeah.
And then but everything on my album, everyone that's on my album, it was super smooth.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, when it came to the creative process of the record, lyrically, did you allow them to come in and create their own verses? Did you give them an idea of like, okay, well, this is what I'm going for with this record? Like this is what the vibe?
Some people ask me, hey, what's your, like, you know, we would talk about the album and what the concept was. But I tell everybody, like, yo, like, don't get married to like this concept of like, you know, because I get it. It's like I'm kind of flirting with the line of it being a little cheesy because it's about healing your inner child, and I'm entering, like, you know, the space. So it's like I don't want music to be preachy. I want to enjoy it. The only person that I told, like, yo, this is the concept, this is what we gotta do, was Absol.
Yes.
And that was the only person I was like, yo, like, this is what, like, I need, like, this is what the album's about, and you're the one to deliver this. Because you know, you're the best. You're an alien, bro. You're not from here.
I felt that. Aside from the, you know, I felt that track with the opener, not the intro, but the second track.
The second track, Take Your Time.
Yeah, Take Your Time with Ab. And I definitely, that's where like the chills kind of happened for me, like listening to this, because it really like opened the door of like, all right, I get what you're trying to tell me.
That was all intentional, man. Like, it was all like dramatic, you know, trying to bring it in, like, oh shit, what's happening with this bass line and Ab, and it's like, what are you saying too? You know, it's very
You got him on Melodies too.
Yeah, exactly. And then after that, boom, Sabo.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, all right, cool, now we're gonna have fun, and that was super important. Arranging and sequencing an album is so important because you're giving someone an experience, and you're telling them how to listen to it.
Yeah.
So you really have to really sit there and be intentional with it, because it's an experience.
Yeah.
And you want to make it the best experience for them.
Yeah.
You know?
Talk to me a little bit about like that initial startup or the idea of this, because, you know, we're both Mexican, so we know like family is like super close knit, right?
Yeah.
So anything we do, we almost want to talk to our parents. We almost want to get them involved, right? And the fact that it was like your parents looking at old things that kind of made you want to think back about this like childhood era, like
they brought, so it was after my first Grammy, and it was in Vegas that year.
Yeah,
and I was at the my parents brought these tapes.
Yeah.
It was like tapes of, it was only like 2 tapes. That's the only ones they could find. And I asked them to bring them because they like, oh, we found some. I'm like, I'll bring them over because I could like digitize them here in LA.
Yeah.
And then once I brought them back, I saw them, and like I mentioned before, like, it was just kind of like a moment of like, it was a little surreal because, you know, I hadn't seen myself in that phase of my life since I was probably that age. So it's kind of like sad because you can forget about that child that you were, and you're like, dude, like, well, like, because you I mean, it's life, bro. You get caught up in life, and life happens. You grow up, but that inner child is still there, and it's a lot of things that we don't look at and don't heal comes from unresolved issues from that time. So it comes out in our relationships. With anybody, it could be romantic or platonic, and they don't serve us anymore. And it's like, because you're running from that shit, or you're not even running, you just don't even think about it, because it's so deep in your subconscious that you're not even thinking about that shit. And when I saw it, it was a little bit of a moment of like, I mean, it was a reflective moment, but it was a little bit sad. So I was like, damn, like, I haven't even seen myself in that space. A lot of times growing up, I mean, you know, you're Mexican, and also I think anyone that comes from like that's first generation understands the pressures of like, yo, like, our parents have this standard for us, and they want us to do this, and this. And a lot of people end up doing those things because they want to please their family and their friends. And I was like, that shit. I'm selfish. So I'm like, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and I'm not doing anything negative.
Yeah.
And let it be what it be. And if I go crazy, it's on me. If I fail, it's on me. But I think that moment that I had with my parents, it made me actually understand them better because as you get older, you just realize that they don't even have the tools to deal with you, and they're kids. My parents were mad young. They're like 18. Mom was 18 when she had me. Wow. So I was a dickhead at 18, bro. I would have. I would think
back. It's like,
bro, if I had a kid at 18, he'd be up too. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not, but you empathize with them a little better. So it made me understand them more. And I got to put a lot of things to just like we got to just put a lot of things to rest, and so that's why I was like, once I saw that and did all that and had those conversations, I was able to start the album. You know what I mean? Yeah, and it's just and I think again, like I told my dad, look, bro, like if I'm an extension of you, what'd you think I was gonna do? Yeah. And then when I put it to him like that, he was like, shit, like it hit him, like, yeah, well, you gonna do what you want to do. So and now here we are. You know what I'm saying?
Full circle.
Yeah.
So this whole this whole thing like opened up this opportunity for this record. Prior to that, were you even planning on creating a record of this type, or were you trying to create something different?
Yeah, I had I had all my 3 albums already like titled how I wanted like to name them and stuff. I just didn't know what the approach was going to be for Don't Grow Up Too Soon. Like I always wanted to name an album that's the name of my company, so I always wanted to do like that my second album would be called that. Yeah. I just didn't know what's the story I'm going to tell, like. And then it just fell on my lap. You know what I mean? That's dope. And then I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. Like this is the story I'm gonna tell. And then the next one's already like the title's already, figured out. I just gotta figure out how I'm gonna. I have an idea already how I'm gonna do it, but we'll see what life presents, and then I run with that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. During these 14 tracks, like where do you feel that the challenge was, aside from like trying to get everyone together to record?
Yeah.
Like, where did you feel challenged on this album?
I think starting the album was challenging. I had brought all my friends that I work with, that I collaborate with, we went to Dominican Republic. I think it was August of 2022 to start the album, and we were there for 10 days, and we made a bunch of music, but nothing from that trip made the album. Wow! So it was more like I was like, damn. And I was like, well, I'm like, we came out here for this and nothing, but it was more of like a jump start. Yeah. To get everything flowing, and that was the hardest part to start. Finishing the album was the easy part because I did all the work already. And even in the parts where I felt like I didn't know what I was doing, because there's moments, like I said earlier, there's moments where you're just like, you got everything laid out, and you're like, "What?" It's like a puzzle. Where? Yeah. Like, where the hell does this go? It's all there. Yeah. But then it just starts coming together, And I know I hit a stride I think I hit a stride for like 2 weeks where I did like 5 songs. Like it was like, He Got the Gas, Big Brown Eyes, Mangosteen, Run Me Back My Bread, and then You a Star. Yeah. Like it was 5 songs that got done like in that matter of that month. Damn. And that's when I was like, okay, cool. Like I get it now. I know what I'm looking at. Yeah. Yeah.
You have a couple collaborations where there's multiple artists on the tracks. Like, how did those collaborations differ from the ones where it's just one artist that you're working with?
I think that sometimes less is more. So I think that some of the songs I'm like, you know what, this is just, I don't need anybody else on this. Yeah. The other ones that I had 2 people people on, it was also intentional. Like Spinning These Blocks, I wanted a moment. I've always wanted to work with Paul Wall. Yeah. I've always wanted to work with Maxo. And I was with BJ's one of my friends. We were in the studio, and he just made the hook for it, and it just made sense. The one with Jordan Ward and Riz, I wanted someone to contrast Jordan, but I wanted it to be like, I wanted it to be like Riz, you know, his
Yeah.
tone from Atlanta over his beautiful strings and
Yeah.
these hard drums and Nux and Papa Rod too. That was a super random, super random. Like I don't even know how I came up with that. That whole song was a whole. It was just me just experimenting.
Yeah.
And not being like, you know, just trying shit, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was, like I said, some songs didn't need, they just need just one person.
Right.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about like just that process of trying to paint that picture on this album and just kind of figuring out like that order, the discography for or the track listing for the record.
I knew I needed the intro and outro. I knew I needed to have the Absol song. That was already like for sure. The Maxwell song and Paul Wall song, that was one of the first songs I got done too.
Yeah.
Trying to think. Other than that, I didn't really know what was gonna happen because like I'm chasing so many people, and I know I'm saying like the same things about not knowing, but like I know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how I was gonna get there.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, cool. Like how long is it gonna take? Also just on the other side of the, not even the creative side, just the business side of things. Like
those
are 20 contracts, and also, you know, like to be full transparency, like I do like I'm doing like the way I do it is I just do a swap. You know, these artists are working with me on my album.
Yeah.
So when I go on their album, I do it for, you know,
Yeah.
everyone did this thing. Everyone contributed to this album for me at no cost.
Right.
Like nobody said, hey, let me charge you for a verse. Like, nah, like, yo, like I'm gonna do this verse for you. I got you on your album for a free beat. So now I'm, you know, it's all that, you know what I mean?
So now you got work to do.
I got work to do. So I got a lot of work to do. But again, it's all just like a testament to the grind, to the also everything I built, and to you know, sometimes it's hard to get people to see what you see. So I try to paint it as clear as I can, because not everybody's gonna see how you see it. And a lot of that is there has to be trust on both sides. You know what I mean? So that's what I try to always, you know, bring. You know what I'm saying? For sure.
I love that when I'm listening to this record, you don't stay in one lane as far as like the genre, the sound, the melody, the beats, like, and going back to that Absol track, like I love the fact that it was very jazzy, a jazzy kind of vibe for it. What was it about these melodies or these like soundscapes that you created for this album that you felt like, even though they were not necessarily all over the place, but they weren't just one.
Yeah, it wasn't one it wasn't one sound. Yeah. That also in itself is another difficult because it's like almost like figuring out how you're gonna make all these styles be cohesive.
Yeah.
A lot of times too, like I try to like make the comparison to like I love Tim Burton, I love Quentin Tarantino, and these guys, they create worlds, you know, and these worlds they have like, you know, like they have their main characters they always use. Always, like Quentin's always gonna get Samuel Jackson, you know, Tim Burton used Michael Keaton a lot. And you never get tired of seeing them, right? You just know he's gonna use them in a different way. Like Beetlejuice is different from Batman. You know, Pulp Fiction is different from Jackie Brown. I have those people in my world, you know, Jordan Ward, Orion's son, Saba and Duckworth. Like Saba and Duckworth in my world, they're in a group, right? Even though it's not, you know. But it's just like their tones sound, they complement each other well. And it's like it fits in my world. So I'm always gonna have my go-to, and I always want to make sure people are not like, oh, like he's using them again. Like I want them to be like excited, like, oh shit, how's he gonna do it this time? And that's like, those are kind of like the main ones that I have, you know, those three or those four, I'm sorry, that I really always go to, and that's my intention from the start. Is that world.
Instrumentation wise, did you have any actual like band members performing or playing?
Man, hell yeah, man, a lot. There's the string arrangements were done by the Detroit Soul Orchestra, and that was written by my friend Maurice Hurd. He wrote the music.
Nice.
So I brought him some songs early on the album. I think it was like last year in February I went. So I went early, but I had already a few songs.
Yeah.
And I had to go back again because I got more songs. But I didn't want to overload it with strings.
Yeah.
But then you have the strings, you have you have bass, piano, obviously saxophone. My boy Rob plays sax on Take Your Time, and he played the keys too. A lot of it that I do is collaboration. It's a lot of jam sessions. And it's taking those jam sessions and just taking the best parts and then making music out of it, or making beats out of it. Sorry.
Yeah. During this whole process, like, what was your favorite moment?
I think my favorite moment. There's not one moment. My favorite moments was like when I was in Atlanta, and I got an Airbnb. This is March of last year. And like I did, how many songs did I do? I did Hold Me, He Got the Gas, and Time with Childish. But it was very relaxed. It was very like, I literally had just my Apollo, my laptop, SM7 mic, 2 speakers. And then, I got a lot of, then the homies just pulled up to the Airbnb. So, C Note's there, Childish is there, Riz is there. They're just there hanging out. And we're just, it's very casual, very relaxed. I think sometimes the studio setting can be a little bit of like intimidating, but also kind of like there's a time frame from this time to this time. Yeah. And creativity doesn't work like that. Yeah. You don't get to pick. All right, 4 to 8, I'm gonna make a hit. I'm gonna do this. Like,
it's gonna come at 9.
It comes when it comes, bro. It comes. It might come in. You might be in the kitchen. Like, oh shit. Like, so I just like to do it like that, and it brings you back to when I first started making music. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, to kind of close us off, like, you most recently SOS with SZA had, big accolades with that one. What did that process of that creative process to even like the accolades that it gained? How did that like impact your career and also your creative process?
Creative process, no effect. Career wise, I guess, some people that, they'll be like, "Oh wow, you won a Grammy," with SZA, and I think that this one was for me like the most. Well, they're both very special, and each for different reasons. One, the Kanye one because it's Kanye West from Chicago. I'm from Chicago, and that's like who I look up to. Right. So that one was that in itself, and then this one, with SZA, being able to be a part of her career. Being able to do such a huge song with her, and also to do it with like 2 of my really, really good friends, and then also never compromising the sound. Like I didn't had to chase a hit with a different sound. I just made a good song with my friend, and that was it.
That must feel amazing that you're able to bring in yourself into somebody else's body work.
and that's the number one thing that we should always be like conscious of is of trying to do like, no one could do me better than me, and I can't do them better than they can. So like and just knowing that being secure with that, and I think that the only changes I saw was some people like I said like like just they mention it, and I don't really think as far as like
it's not something that phases you.
No, because my value is in different places. My value is in like this the music that I'm gonna leave behind. And the relationships that I have, and also the way the information and the way I do business, because the business that we're in is super janky, and it exploits artists and exploits Black artists, and it's like everybody want to be Master P until it's time to turn down some money, or until it's time to pay the tab. And it's like, you want to be the boss. That shit cost. And these sayings are made for a reason. But for real, it's like people want to talk that shit until it's time to actually cough up that bread. Yeah. And it's like, I'm independent. But then you act like a major. And it's like, nah, like, we're full transparent over here. We all want equity. We all want ownership because that's the things that we can, rely on, eat from in the future. Yeah. And that's super important. Like before we wrap up, is that we're so conditioned to think now and think get the bag now that we're not thinking 10 years from now. Yeah. And the decisions that we make today affect us a lot in the future. And once you start thinking like that, you move a little different. So and at times you're gonna have to turn down money that you don't even have. Yeah. If you really are about this ownership. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying that's where you really see who's who. Because everybody can talk good talk, but I've turned down money that I don't have. Damn. And because I really, really, truly believe that what I believe in. and it's just like that.
And it's paid off. I mean, you from the beginning, you already had your 3 albums already titled, so
Yeah.
that already alone says a lot. So.
I already had them ready to go. Yeah, it was Minus the Bullshit. Life's Great. That was a really good one. And then Don't Grow Up Too Soon.
Yeah.
And the third one's called Already Won. They just forgot to clap. So,
Damn.
So yeah, it's gonna be tight.
Titles, man.
Yeah, bro. I'm trying to tell you, dog. And that next one, ooh, it's gonna be so crazy. It's gonna be so good. I promise you that.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to kind of see this evolution continue to
Thank you,
happen
bro.
for you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you
here.
for having me, bro. For real, it was awesome. It was
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. And if you guys aren't familiar, check out the album is out now. Don't Grow Up Too Soon. You shouldn't be growing up too soon either. But thanks for watching here on Front Row Live.